What are you thinking about?
Tell me what you're thinking.
Have you ever thought about, I wonder
Why
why?
is that the way you think it is?
Is that really your opinion?
Shh.
The Thoughts of Thinkers
The
podcast.
Thoughts of Thinkers podcast.
All right, what's up, world? It's been a little while. It feels kind of strange doing this again. It's been months at least. A lot has happened since then. I think the last episode was the DMT episode, which was a super fun one. I'm checking to see when that episode was released. A lot has happened since then, obviously. That was before the quarantine, before the whole COVID-19 and all that crazy fun stuff popped off. 2 months ago. Wow. January 22nd. And it was recorded a few weeks before that, so today is actually 4/20. Monday, April 20th. So, happy 4/20 to all you stoners out there. I'm not smoking weed, but I am drinking a Modelo, so cheers. I am currently sitting on my couch with my new mobile podcast studio set up right next to me. I've just got a microphone attached to my end table on the end of the couch and my laptop sitting in my lap. I used to have a computer, like an iMac, like a desktop, and I ended up getting rid of that, trading it for a laptop and an iPad and a few other things, a little bit of cash or whatever. But I feel like this is going to be better for me. I think the desktop is more... It just didn't really fit what I needed it for. I need to be kind of mobile, especially with a podcast, moving around. Like, there would be so many times where I would be sitting here having a conversation with someone, and in order to record it, we would say, okay, let's go to the computer, and we would have to kind of huddle around the computer and try and do this podcast, and it always fucked up the mood. So now that I have this little mobile studio, I can bring my laptop and my microphone with me anywhere and record anywhere. I also have the actual audio, the portable audio recorder that I recorded the DMT episode on, which is awesome too. So yeah, we're making moves. This podcast isn't done yet. I'm sure a lot of you probably thought that it was just kind of a couple episode thing and done, which, to be honest, I wasn't sure if it was. But I think that I'm going to get back into it and take it serious. There was a lot of things that happened, which I'd like to get into. I guess the first biggest thing was breaking my foot. I moved to a new place. I think I might have said this in a previous episode, but I moved to a new city, so that took up a ton. I got the DMT episode posted, and I think shortly after... Well, actually, no. Did I already talk about this? Because this... Yeah, so the injury happened in December. Broke my foot, fell off of a ladder. That's a fun story. And went into surgery. I actually had surgery on my foot New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve night, everyone was out partying, and I was sitting in the hospital waking up from anesthesia like fucking loopy and shit. So that put me out for a long time. I was pretty much bedridden for... I broke my foot, dislocated toes, pulled ligaments, did all kinds of fun shit. And after the surgery, I had like pins sticking out of my foot, and it was all crazy wrapped up, and it was pretty fucking gnarly. So I was pretty much bedridden for a few weeks. Went and stayed up at my mom's house. Shout out to her. She fucking held it down, as you do with people you love when they're injured. So she held it down for me for a few weeks, and then once the majority of the recovery was over with, I came back home, was still in a cast. I was actually in a cast for... Well, I didn't get out of the cast until... February? Late February? Early March? So yeah, like a month and a half. I was riding around on a little fucking scooter thing. I had some crutches and shit, and I had one of those little one-legged push scooter things, which kind of made doing everyday normal shit interesting, for sure. Going to the grocery store, though, I got to ride on those little fucking power scooter things. We used to steal those when we were kids, and we would always get kicked off of them, but now I had a legit reason to ride one, and it was kind of fun, doing your grocery shopping in those little scooter things. But yeah, so I've been dealing with that shit. That happened. I think, there was a lot of anxiety that happened these past couple months. I had some pretty legit panic attacks, which I've dealt with in the past. I mean, it's not anything really new. They just always seem to take a new form, which is why they continue to be a problem. It seems like every time I have some anxiety or I have a panic attack, I learn how to deal with it. And then 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road, whatever, they come back, but in a completely new form that I've never dealt with before. So I kind of have to relearn from the ground up how to deal with this new problem, which is kind of crazy. So I went to therapy. I kind of decided, I've kind of played with the idea of going to therapy for a long time, but never pulled the trigger. I always just kind of took pride in knowing that I could control my consciousness and I could take care of it myself, but I think there eventually comes a time where you kind of just you're kind of just ready for some help. I think I was just ready to be done with it once and for all, because I had been dealing with it my own way for past 15 years. I think is when I started having anxiety, when I was 11 years old, something like that. So obviously it wasn't working because I was still dealing with it. So I decided to go to therapy, which started to help. And then right after I started going to therapy, COVID-19 found its way into America and the entire country shut down. So that's on pause. But there's still been a lot of work being done on my own and stuff like that anyways. So it's been all right. Yeah, I don't know what else, man. These past couple months have been kind of crazy. This whole COVID-19 thing is pretty insane. I've heard all kinds of different crazy theories. I'm sure anybody listening to this has too. It's been the topic of conversation for the past probably month at least. 2 months. I'm still working full time, so I feel kind of blessed in one way. I feel kind of fortunate, and then in the same way I don't. But I think that a lot of people, actually, there's a lot of protests going on right now. People that lost their jobs or can't work or whatever are actually protesting to open the country back up, which is a whole nother topic of conversation. I'll just leave it at that. So I do feel fortunate to still have a job that is considered essential, I suppose. Working full time, I get to get out of the house. I can't imagine people locked up in the house all fucking day, every day. That's kind of how I was when I broke my foot. I was pretty much locked up in the house, bedridden. couldn't really do too much. So as soon as I got my cast off, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do all this shit. And then the fucking country shuts down. So I guess I got a little practice run before everybody else, which I guess would be the silver lining of that. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to there's not going to be any more content. I have a couple episodes recorded. I recorded a couple episodes with the same guys that I did DMT with. Bunch of buddies of mine. We all got together and sat around a table and bullshitted for a while. It ended up being like a fucking 5-hour podcast, so I got to go through it. I'm sure there's a ton of bullshit in there that doesn't need to be in there. The beginning was great, but as most podcasts do, they kind of tend to deteriorate, especially after like 5 hours. So I'll go through that. There's another episode I did with my roommate. We talked a little bit about love and relationships and our current situations at the time. This was recorded a long time ago, so I'm sure things have changed since then. I know in my life, as far as relationships and stuff go, things have definitely changed. So yeah, I still have a couple episodes recorded. I'm going to start trying to record more with people. I'm definitely going to start recording more just like this on my own too. I have a list of topics that I made a while ago that I want to start going over. I want to start talking about, getting deep with, even on my own. You know, it's fun having conversations and I love it, but sometimes it is nice to just be able to explore your own mind and explore the thoughts as you think them, you know. So maybe I'll do a few more of those too, coming up, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes, you know. I still really enjoy doing this. Man, it's only been 12 minutes. I feel like I've been talking forever. I got to get back in the hang of it, man. I got to get back in the hang of talking by myself in a room for extended periods of time. If you guys, I hope the music in the background isn't too loud. I kind of have it set so it's just supposed to be background music. I take up some of the silent spots when I pause. If anybody digs it, just look up lo-fi on YouTube. Lo-fi is a genre of music that I discovered a few years ago that I pretty much fell in love with. As you can hear, it's super chill, hip-hop style beats, jazzy, kind of relaxing vibe music. A lot of the playlists are called music to study to, or music to sleep to, or music to chill to. But if you just look up lo-fi on YouTube, they have 24-hour live streams of just constant music like this. And it's amazing to just have on in the background when you're hanging out with friends or playing games, you know, playing some cards or something, and you want some music on, but you don't want to listen to, you know, something fucking crazy. It's perfect. I hope that's coming through. It's coming through on my headphones right now, so I'm sure it's coming through on the podcast too. But yeah, what else can I even fucking talk about? I don't know. Sitting on my couch is pretty dope. Instead of like coming home and having to pull up the chair at the computer desk and stare at the computer, and it was like in the corner of my living room, so I would just stare at my fucking wall and shit, you know. This is actually cool. I can get comfortable. I can do it in my room if I wanted to, if my roommate was here. I can even do it in the fucking backyard, dude. Fuck it. That would be sweet. Do a little podcast in the backyard. Maybe have a little fire back there or something. I feel like with the computer, I don't know why, but it was so hard to be motivated to get work done on it. I mean, I'm on a computer all day at work, I work in a warehouse, but we use computers in the warehouse, and I'm constantly having to check the computer screen and type shit and do stupid stuff like that. And maybe that's why coming home from work, I was just couldn't find the motivation to sit down at a computer and do even more work. I feel like with the laptop and the iPad, because they are so mobile, I can kind of create my own little vibe. If I feel like just kicking back in my room, or I feel like hanging out right here in the living room, backyard, maybe take it on the road, fucking go, wherever. I can edit podcasts on this. I can edit, post, do everything on this. With the audio recorder, it's a little more, if you've ever seen them, they're called the Zoom. It's called a Zoom audio recorder. And it basically is just like a little microphone with a memory chip in it and batteries. And so you literally just press the record button. It records whatever the fuck is going on. You press stop, and then you take the memory card out, and you have to import the files into your computer, and then you can edit them and post them and do all that stuff. But what's cool about having the laptop and the microphone set up the way it is, I can literally just record a podcast right into GarageBand, fucking slightly edit it if I need to, and then post it right there. Like, it doesn't have to be a multi-day process, which is kind of cool. So I'm really excited to have this laptop and the iPad. I also have some plans. For anybody that knows me knows that I like doing visual art too, drawing and painting and stuff. And one of the big reasons why I got an iPad was they have some really powerful software available for the iPad with Procreate and others that you can use to draw and paint with, just like Photoshop or any other, professional software. And they have the Apple Pen, which is Apple Pencil, Pen Pineapple, Apple Pen. Who knows what the fuck's that from? Anyways, they have the little pencil thing that you can draw on, so I expect a lot more digital artwork coming from me too. I've just been really motivated, man. Really motivated recently. I've got a lot of stuff in the works, man. And I'm excited to bring it to you guys. Somebody told me once that it was after I hadn't posted a podcast in a couple months, and I was just kind of debating on, am I going to keep this podcast going or not? I mean, it's not profitable. It's not like it's bringing me any money or bringing me any fame or bringing me anything really. It's kind of just an outlet for me. And I didn't even really think anything of it. Like, it's kind of just a cool way for me to get some thoughts out, maybe connect with people that I wouldn't be able to connect with normally. But it wasn't for, because I wanted it to bring me anything. But what's cool is it's brought in other people things. Somebody told me recently, they were like, man, you doing that podcast is hella inspirational. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm just talking bullshit. And they said something along the lines of you just putting yourself out there like that, not scared of being judged or what people are going to say or think, like just being open and putting your thoughts out there and for the world to hear, you know what I mean? And they said that it was really cool, and it inspired me to kind of do the same and to just go for what I've been wanting to go for. And I thought that really made me feel good, and that's honestly a big reason why, excuse me, I decided to pick this podcast back up. I mean, I was kind of in this headspace of like, am I going to continue it? Am I just going to, that was a fun project for a couple months and kind of let it go? But I think the positive response that I've had from people that are interested or think it's cool or tell me that it inspires them some way, or even just listening to, when people say, hey, yeah, I listened to the podcast, it was cool. I'm just like, what the fuck? You listen to me talk? It's crazy. So I'm glad that I can provide any type of positivity towards your life, whatever it might be. That's kind of cool. That's pretty special for me. So I think I am going to keep doing it. Even if nobody listens, even if one person listens, even if one person is like, yeah, this shit's cool. It inspires me or whatever. That's good enough for me. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep doing it. Anybody out there who has any topics that they'd like to hear my opinion of, if there's anybody out there that does care about my opinion or just want to hear me talk about some shit, let me know. Like I said, I have a bunch of topics that I'd like to talk about too, but if anybody wants to talk about anything, just let me know. Tiger King's fucking crazy. I'm sure everybody's fucking seen that shit by now. Carol Baskin did it. Hashtag Carol Baskin did it. Hashtag free Joe Exotic. Oh, man. What a crazy fucking world. What a crazy fucking world. Maybe I'll do a podcast about my anxiety. The recent panic attacks that I had. I don't know what caused it, if anything. I think it was just a lot of stuff. It was the recent DMT experience that had kind of made me question some things. It was the broken foot. It was the COVID stuff going on at the time that was just starting to get crazy. I don't really know what caused it, but maybe I'll dive deep into that and do an anxiety episode. If anybody listens to this and doesn't follow me on Instagram, you can check me out on Instagram. I made a couple posts about it while I was going through it, which seemed to help. Yeah, I think I'll do an episode about anxiety. I don't want to get too deep into it right now on this episode because I want to keep this one kind of short, just to let people know that I'm still here. The podcast is still here, man. It hasn't died yet. So, yeah. I think I might just cut it there. We're at 20 minutes. Fuck it. That's cool enough for me. Just to let you guys know what's up, what's been going on in my life. What anybody can expect, if anybody cares. Yeah, more podcast episodes, more artwork, trying to stay motivated. For whatever reason, this quarantine has made me feel good. I don't know why, but a lot of people are freaked out and a lot of people are stressing. And like I said, I'm fortunate enough to still have a job. And I can imagine that if you weren't able to pay your bills and your job is gone, why you might be stressing a little more than me. But this quarantine has brought some weird peace over me. And I've been trying to explore it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I just feel I don't feel threatened by it. And I've been sick twice since this whole quarantine popped off. Luckily not with COVID. Or who knows? Maybe it was COVID. Fuck. I didn't have a fever though. So I guess I was fine. But yeah, this quarantine has just kind of brought a newfound motivation. I just feel really good. I feel really at peace. I feel really just motivated. So I want to take advantage of it while I have it. I know it's not going to last forever. Nothing ever does, but I think while this quarantine is going on, it's really important. It's going to make people and it's going to break some people. Are you going to use this time as a motivation to better yourself, or are you going to use this time to just fucking eat yourself alive? And I think that I made a decision very early on when all this stuff started popping off and a talk of a quarantine started floating around. I told myself I'm not going to let this shit get to me. I'm going to be, or at least I'm going to try to be a person that uses this to their benefit, to learn something, to gain something from this. I've been teaching myself how to bake bread. I actually baked a loaf of bread, my first loaf of bread ever, a few days ago, and I'm working on another one as we speak. So that's been cool. I planted a fucking garden, so I got my little garden running. I've been, let's see, what else? I've been tightening up my skills on the smoker. I've got like a big barbecue with a smoke box on it and stuff, and I've been smoking a bunch of tri-tips and tightening up my skills on that. Yeah, man, just trying to do stuff at home. I haven't been the best at quarantining, that's for sure. I mean, when all this quarantine started, I was in fucking St. Louis, and I almost thought that I was going to get stuck out there. I didn't know if I was even going to be able to fly home. We flew Southwest, and we were having to watch the flights every single day, because they were closing down flights. We just had to make sure that flight back to California didn't get closed. So I haven't been the best at quarantining. I've had some friends over, and I've gone to friends' houses, and we stay safe. As I cough, right? Sitting here coughing, saying I'm staying safe about COVID, but I wash my hands frequently and try not to get too close to people. No more shaking hands when I go to friends' houses and shit. So, there's ways around it. And I'm just, like I said, trying to stay motivated, trying to stay busy. I think that's what you got to do, man. At least for me. It seems when I'm left to my own devices, for whatever reason, it never turns out good. I was bedridden for like a month with a broken leg and couldn't do shit, and tried to stay motivated, but when you can't even get out of bed, it's like, what the fuck? How do I stay busy? There's only so many fucking Sudoku puzzles I can do. You know what I mean? There's only so much fucking Netflix I can watch, so I think that's why a lot of anxiety came from that, was just feeling stuck. And now, even with the quarantine, I'm like, fuck, I could walk, bro. So yeah, that's it, man. I kind of feel like I'm tooting my own horn and fucking trying to brag and shit. That's not what it's about. I just want to, if this podcast does inspire anybody, I want you to be inspired to be a better person. Go bake a fucking loaf of bread. Go grow a tomato or something, you know what I mean? Come back to our roots. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I don't know how often I'm going to do episodes again. I know I was doing them for a while every week, but that was a little bit too much. I think every 2 weeks is a sweet spot. I think I'm just going to do it like, fuck it. I'll just release it whenever the fuck I want. How about that? Whether it's a week, whether it's fucking 5 weeks. I mean, this last time was like, 12 weeks? 15 weeks or some shit since last episode, so fuck it, I think that's the way to go. Just release them when I want. All right, y'all. Keep in contact. Oh, another thing, too. I'm not going to be putting this on fucking Stitcher or iTunes anymore. I was paying money for that. I was going through SoundCloud, and I had like a SoundCloud premium account or whatever, which isn't a lot of money, but nobody was listening to it on Stitcher and iTunes. Everybody was consuming it on YouTube, and YouTube was the free part. So I think I'm just going to keep uploading these to YouTube. It's easier for me anyways. I don't got to fuck with like an RSS feed and create different files and do all this other bullshit. I can literally just record this shit, put it on a video file, upload it to YouTube, and it's done. So I'm just going to have this on YouTube from now on. If I do continue to do this for any length of time and it starts to gain any kind of popularity and people want it to be back on Stitcher, and if anybody right now does, let me know. I mean, if that's how you consume it, if you want it to be on Stitcher or iTunes or whatever, let me know. But I think that like 99% of everybody that was listening to this was just listening to it on YouTube. It's just the easiest access, and it's free and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, this is just going to be on YouTube from now on. That could always change, though, as with all things. So yeah, for the 17th time, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I'm gonna fucking end this podcast. Keep in touch. Add me on Instagram, TOT Podcast. Find me on YouTube. You probably already did if you're listening to this. But yeah, that's it. Thoughts of Thinkers Podcast, episode whatever the fuck. Happy 420, y'all. Peace.